So I've got the XL-02 and Buzz Lightyear, but why look at just XL-02 when we could also look at the XL-03 with, well, Buzz Lightyear? Hello toy fans, and I'm here with a two for today. Today I'm looking at Disney Pixar's Lightyear's XL-02 and XL-03 with both Buzz Lightyear. Now this is part of the Hyperspeed series, so this is going to be the smaller vehicles with the small little minifigure inside. Some things I had kind of looked at and noticed about it when I was looking at the packaging, and some theories I think I might have on this particular line and some stuff it might work with. We're going to be trying out the whole fixture of things. Now, I came across these, early in the summer. Really liked them. Happened to pick these up recently at CVS, and I've really started to kind of find this love in these particular figures. And I'll tell you why as we get into the review, because I feel like they would tie nicely with another line of toys that I currently have. Now, let's take a look at the packaging. For the Disney Pixar Lightyear, the XL-01 with Buzz Lightyear, we see that it is a part of the Hyperspeed series, which is all indicated up here. With the Hyperspeed series, we get to see it all encased with the figure and the vehicle inside the packaging. And this is, I believe, theorized scaled to kind of like the action fleet that Galoob did back in the day with Star Wars. So I'm kind of wondering if this might scale to that one really well, or the new scaled figures that we're getting for the action fleet that are coming out now. So with this, of course, we see our different plane. Now, what I like about this line is that they are all going to be the different, basically, spaceships that they use to try to achieve hyperspace that kind of fell along the lines. And there's 15 of these in total. So far, there's been a couple of waves. This is going to be from Wave 1, and this one is from Wave 2. So I'll be kind of picking as I find them and, reviewing them, looking at them there. I love so far looking at it within its packaging. All the detail that they're showing here is great. And of course, we get some blurbs here. We get a whole nice open window seeing both the spaceship and our pilot. We get a call back to Lightyear down here and what it is, and it's made by Mattel, of course. Let's go to the back. On the back, of course, we get a blurb here. It talks about having retractable landing gear. And there's another play feature that's actually on the front, on the inside, where it talks about having an open canopy. So these have opening canopies, landing gear, and a little figure. So there's not a lot to it, but there's enough to keep us interested. Also in the Hyperspeed series, of course, we've got, the XL-01, the XL-15, this is the 2 and the 7. And then we've got the drop pods with our Zerg bots. It says complete your fleet. And then a whole bunch of legal jargon. Go back to the front. Now, that is the XL-01. The XL-02, its main difference is going to be its cross-cell art here. But other than that, it's the same exact thing. We've got the XL-12, looks like the XL-8, the XL-15 with the original pilot Buzz on there. So it's kind of the one that achieves hyperspace. Looks like we have the XL-07 maybe, and the XL-03. So we're getting different ones in the lines. Now, that's the packaging for these two ships, the XL-02 and the XL-03. And the packaging isn't going to tell us anything else about this. If we want to get our theories answered and we want to get to see the toy, we're going to have to get these out and get to flying. And straight out of the package, this is our XL-02 with our pilot Buzz and our XL-03 with our pilot Buzz. And they are beautiful. I thought for a second that these canopies were actually shared because they look similar to one another, and I thought maybe they were shared parts. They are actually both different toolings of one another, so they're not replaceable between the two. Now, the two figures of Buzz, there is some difference between them, but they are so small, it honestly looks like they are close to the same figure for each one. Let's take a look at the gray Buzz for the XL-02 and of course his plane. Now these figures have, I can get them up, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 different points of articulation. And something to keep in mind, they are less than an inch tall. They are small. They are very, very small. So these could easily be lost, and I definitely say for the young ones, I would keep it, you know, really probably 5 up. I think it's advertised as 4 and up, but this really does feel like kind of an older kid sort of thing, and like they are small. So if you got kids that still put things in their mouth, probably don't want them to have these just yet. So to compare him to the XL-02, there's a little bit of difference between them, but they are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same, just kind of a recoloring of it. Again, same articulation, the arms move, and the legs move, and they're kind of stiff. I'd be kind of careful about moving these around too much. They are pretty cool. Now, we didn't come here really to talk about figures, we came to talk about the ships. So this is the XL-02, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I love the detail in this. Like all the engine work in here, the actual thrusters here. This reminds me of something from like the old arcade art of like Space Invaders or Galaga. Some of the old Atari artwork, it just reminds me of that, and it is beautiful. Like the detail work on this is phenomenal. Now it does have a few points of articulation. We get, of course, the cockpit that opens. Now as you can see, there's a little bit of detail in there. We've got some paint application on the inside. We get the console that's sculpted up here, but there's not like a lot. The figure does fit in, and it fits in kind of loosely. And this does rock forward, and it's supposed to lock back in place. Now, mine feels like it's a little loose, but that'll be fine. I just have to be careful about flying it. Now, on this, you've got, of course, landing gear, which is just a thumb pop out. So you push it out like this, and you've got 1, 2, 3 points of wheels that pop down, and they would stand up about that much. And then something I noticed is that you've got this hole here, and I think I've seen something close to this hole before, and I've got a stand that I might try just to see if that'll fit on it. But I believe that there might be some things from Mattel that you might actually be able to pop onto this and to create a stand for. Isn't that cool? Just a very, very simple ship, but it works. Really works. Okay, now the XL-03, I really happen to like this design a lot. It reminds me of kind of a simple jet. It's like a one-engine like trainer jet. This thing works on so many levels. Very cool. And it's painted, in my opinion, it's painted beautifully. Like these things just look great. Its canopy doesn't have any paint application on the inside, but seat has a little bit of a sculpted console there. Go ahead and put our Buzz Lightyear inside. Close canopy. This one holds a little bit better than the other, in my opinion. And then we'll pop those wheels open so it can land. And just keep in mind, the wheels don't actually turn, they just open up and create like a stand on there, which is really, really cool. It also has that same stand feature there as well. Now, with these, I figured we would test it and see how they looked towards the Star Wars action fleet, if they kind of size to that. And for those, I have my old TIE Fighter from the Action Fleet. And they're starting to make new figures and vehicles, so much like that, except these, for the old Action Fleet, the articulation was tied together, so like the arms and the legs would move at the same time. These, with the Mattel, the arms and the legs move separately, and they are really close to the same size. If you wanted, you could probably put Buzz Lightyear in a TIE Fighter, and you could probably put some of the Star Wars figures into the XL-01. So if you want different types of X-Wings, you could do that as well. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Now let's see if I can get this Buzz Lightyear out of here. Yay! So they're really close to scale with one another. Notice that the Buzz Lightyears were just a little bit bigger than the Star Wars, but they still work together really well. Now, out of that, I noticed that I had wondered if the Hot Wheels die-cast would work on these, and they do not work on there. So I kind of wonder. I've seen that sort of thing before. Let me look around. Okay, so I decided to go look, and I got my kids' jet sled stand from Mattel's, the same company. And it's funny, the jet sled is made much like this is, and so I thought maybe this would actually fit over, but it doesn't actually fit over. That feels like a bit of a bummer. I don't know. It's one of those things where I really like these ships, and they're coming in at about $11.99 a piece over at Walmart. I happen to get a deal on mine that made them a little bit less for me over at CVS, but I think that they're really, really, really cool ships. I love the design of these. I love the intricate work that's put into them. The fact that we have a micro figure, we have working canopies, working landing gear, which is awesome. The details are outstanding and beautiful. The paint application is incredible. This really does feel like a great toy, including a great collector's toy. But I have to kind of stop and ask myself, why put a port for a stand if you're not actually going to give us a stand? And that's something that I'm a little concerned about, because in this line, if we're having kids or people that are wanting to display all the different ships that Buzz Lightyear has, why not have a stand thrown in? And that's something that I really appreciated about the Action Fleet toys back in the day, is that you had a vehicle, you had a figure, usually two figures, and a stand that came with it for display. And you could also put your figures on that stand. This, we have the vehicle, we have the figure, but no stand to display it. And I feel like that is a little bit of a lost part of this, because I think that would be incredible. It could have been clear just in the back of the packaging, where we take it out, and if we wanted to, we could set up and it would display, sitting up, much like this, so we could see each ship in all of its grand glory. Because again, they're really, really, really beautiful designs, but the only way to display them is really with wheels down or wheels up, and that's it. No flight motions, nothing else, and no other stands that really fit to it. So I feel like that's a little bit of a mess. Now that's all I got to say about the XL-02 and the XL-03. Both of them are incredible looking ships. This one's coming from Wave 1, this one's coming from Wave 2, and they look really cool. Hopefully we'll get more of these so I can look at them, because I really do enjoy these designs, and as much as I enjoyed the movie. Now remember, they're not dolls. They're action figures. In this case, really small action figures and really super designed, tooled, and articulated vehicles. When I'm not recording videos here on YouTube, I'm actually over on a podcast on marvindogmedia.com called Talking Toys with Taylor and Jeff. It's a really cool toy podcast. Be sure to check it out. Also, I need your help getting my YouTube channel to grow. Be sure to subscribe down below with that big red button. Hit that bell for notifications so you can be alerted of anything that comes from me to you. Like this video, it helps YouTube know that you like what I'm making, and comment down below. I like chatting with you all.